Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. Hope you guys all had a wonderful holiday weekend. We're going to be talking about Palantir Technologies and what we could possibly be expecting here in the month of September. We're going to be looking at some historical data points, but also highlighting some key articles that are showing Palantir is beating a lot of these analyst expectations. And sitting at this price zone about $31, it's looking relatively healthy in the 30s. This is going to be important, especially with what's been happening in the market. We are expecting interest rates to be cut. That's basically, we can't say a full guarantee, but that's being priced in right now as we speak. On top of mortgage rates that are dropping, we see the housing market that's having a really big impact on the economy right now. A lot of things that we need to break down. So if you are a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now pop it up here on the last trading day. This is last Friday. You got Palantir that closed at 31.48. Quickly, you can see here at this 52-week high, you see that resistance here at about the 33s, but at that $30 is an important support zone. And we've seen a reversal that has been triggered here. And at a technical basis, we see a little bit of micro support at about the 31. It'll be interesting to see what happens here kickstarting September. We'll be talking about some historical data in just a second. But one thing that I want to talk about that isn't bullish for Palantir is that the stock has really risen over analyst price targets. And what does this mean now? Now, Palantir at about 31.50. This is up over 30% in the last month from its low of $24 on August 5th. Think about that. The beginning of last month, getting a Palantir at 24 bucks wouldn't have been that bad of a deal. And compared to the average price target of $25, Palantir is now trading over the average target. What we've seen here, Dan Ives, who's typically been bullish on Palantir, raised his price target recently to $35, and the next closest highest price target is from Raymond James, closing the target at 30 bucks about 26 days ago. And talking about why investors are persisting here is fundamentally looking at the company's outlook, and I couldn't agree anymore. We've seen earnings reports that have been very, very lucrative and very well, continuing to beat analyst expectations, and the company's outlook regarding its commercial and governmental growth, AIP especially, shows you that Palantir can really still be a game changer in this market. And the prediction and the profitability that is continuing along with an amazing balance sheet shows you that Palantir still continues to deliver even though the expectations and basically the variables are still the valuation. That's the biggest variable, and Palantir is still continuing to justify that. And valuation kind of gets taken out of the equation with this AI boom that we are in. And this is why we've seen Palantir Technologies looking at financial media, talking about how this AI stock can still go parabolic. Well, specifically looking at that, the number of hedge fund holders is 44. This is a lot more than just retail investment coming in. We see institutional investment that I think is starting to experience a little bit of FOMO. And we see if Palantir starts increasing at a fast rate, that's when more investors and Palantir are starting to pop up on the headlines. And once you get that domino effect, that's when we can really see a large parabolic move in Palantir's price. Now, we've seen, like I've said, what we've all talked about, how Palantir has done in the previous few quarters. And this is why we've been talking about the stock on a daily basis, giving you guys all the news that you need. Now, overall, PLTR ranks 7th on the list of these AI stocks that could go parabolic according to this financial media here. Now, they acknowledge the potential of PLTR. Conviction lies on behalf of basically hoping that these AI stocks deliver higher returns, doing so even in a shorter time frame. So considering here that Palantir is starting to make these big lists, is going to be exposing its own self to more investors on Wall Street. And one big thing that Molly Fool talks about here, talking about is Palantir stock a buy before September 20th. And you might be thinking, what's happening September 20th? That is the next rebalancing of the S&P 500. Now, historically, we talked about on the channel a lot. We can't expect Palantir to be included into the S&P 500. This is just going to happen at some time. And we've been expecting it for some time. However, the next rebalance is scheduled for September 20th. So that is something to keep on the radar. Palantir has crushed all the criteria that you need to be on the S&P 500, and it's important that this rebalancing board, they have to pick which stocks are going to come out, and that can be a difficult and a tough decision. So we can't say why Palantir has not been added onto the S&P 500, but what we've seen historically is usually about a 5 to 7% increase just due to the diversified buying pressure that now adds Palantir into their portfolio. So should you add it before September 20th right here? I would say don't expect it, because this has not been an expectation, or basically has not came to fruition regarding previous expectations. However, when the time comes, I think that's only going to be a bullish milestone for Palantir. And looking at that specifically, the next earnings report is going to be November 1st. A lot of things could be happening between then. One of the big things that we're seeing right now, stock futures going into the market are actually trading kind of basically flat and bracing for potentially a tough month ahead after the strong August that we did see. Now, in August, the S&P rose 2.3%, marking its fourth straight monthly gain. Things are really at all-time highs as we speak. And as the move came after a steep sell-off to begin the month, we still have the concerns of the U.S. economy falling into a recession. This is kind of an uncertainty that I think is lingering around and will continue to linger around, especially throughout the rest of the year. Of course, we see here August got off to an incredibly rough start, but then we saw a large reversal being triggered. And we saw a lot of positive data from the U.S. economy, macroeconomic data, that really helped with that reversal in the broader market. We saw CPI data that was in line and even beating expectations, showing signs that the economy is cooling in terms of inflation, which is helping to boost the probability of those first interest rate cuts. In the short trading week here, the data that will be reported, we're going to be looking at manufacturing indexes, durable goods, and also Friday is going to be incredibly important because that is the August U.S. jobs report. Now, one thing that we need to take with a grain of salt is that September has really not been the best month for stocks. Over the last 10 years, the S&P has lost an average of 2.3% in September, and that really makes it the worst month for the broad market index over the time period. On top of that, the S&P 500 has posted a loss in each of the last 4 Septembers, including a 9.3 decrease in 2022 when we saw a large correction within the market. So right now, things are basically a little hesitant. I think the combination of the data that we're going to be seeing with the jobs report and also with the expectations and how the market is trading off the basically probability of interest rates, that's going to be having a lot of volatility within the month of September. However, in light of all that, if Palantir even comes down in price, I think that'll be only bullish in terms of the long-term perspective. How can people get stocks at a cheaper price? It's when the market starts to correct, when we see a little bit of a selling pressure. It's all about what kind of a value do you give these individual stocks yourself, where do you see them, and what's your time frame. Risk assessment is incredibly important. One thing that we are seeing, our mortgage interest rates are continuing to drop, and they dropped a lot in August. We're seeing around the 6% right now. Right now, this is having a large amount of pressure regarding the interest rate, and the boosted the market expectations that the Federal Reserve is going to start to lower the federal funds rate. And we typically see mortgage rates that do correlate with the changing of the federal funds rate. How this is going to impact home prices still is yet to be determined, but in my own personal opinion, I think we could see home prices start to increase. Even though we have uncertainty with recession possibly coming into the markets, just with the inventory that we have right now and with the amount of first-time home buyers that are sitting on the sideline, there's going to be a lot of demand that comes in with limited supply. So unless we see a lot of homes starting to be listed for sale, this could cause home prices to increase. I want to know, let me know down in the comments, what do you think about all this? What are your predictions regarding Palantir, the whole market in general, especially with mortgage rates? I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.